Dinner was loud that night, plates clinking, laughter echoing, but none of it included me. My mother's voice cut through the noise like glass. Everyone, raise your glass to Ryan, our new business owner. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us what would you do in this situation? Be honest, tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. Applause filled the dining room. My younger brother soaked it up, smiling like a movie star. He'd failed 3 ventures already, but somehow this one made him the hero again. I stayed quiet, pushing cold pasta around my plate. Mom noticed, of course. She always did when I wasn't performing my good daughter act. You could try being happy for him, Claire, she said sweetly, with that tone that wasn't sweet at all. I looked up. I am happy. I just didn't realize selling Dad's old truck counted as starting a business. Ryan chuckled, leaning back. Jealousy doesn't look good on you, sis. Dad sighed, setting down his fork. Enough. We'll talk after dinner. That sentence hit me like a gut punch. We'll talk was never good news. After dinner, they called me into the living room. The TV glowed quietly in the background. Mom folded her arms, her expression set. Claire, your brother's fiancé is moving in. They'll need space. I frowned. Okay. There's a guest room. Ryan smirked. Not big enough. They'll be taking your room. The words hit like a slap. My room? Dad didn't meet my eyes. You're 25, Claire. It's time to be independent. You can stay at a friend's for now until you get your own place. I let out a shaky laugh. After everything I've done for this house? For you? Mom tilted her head. You've always been dramatic. This is about family progress. Don't make it harder than it is. Ryan's grin widened. Come on, Claire. You've always wanted to move out. We're helping you take that step. My throat tightened, but I swallowed the pain.
Right.
Helping me? I didn't argue. Not anymore. I just walked upstairs, each step heavier than the last. My walls still had the faint drawings I made in high school, the postcards I'd taped above my desk, tiny pieces of a life I thought mattered. I packed everything in silence.
Clothes. Books.
The photo of Grandpa Henry that always sat by my bed. The one person who ever told me I was capable of more. When I rolled my suitcase down the stairs, Mom didn't look up from her phone. Dad stood at the window, pretending to adjust the blinds. Ryan called out, "Don't forget to lock up on your way out." The front door clicked shut behind me, and for the first time, the night air felt like freedom and heartbreak all at once. I crashed at my best friend's place, Lena's apartment above a bakery. She handed me a blanket and whispered, "You can stay here as long as you need." I smiled weakly. "Thanks, but I'll figure something out. I always do." But the truth was, I was tired of figuring things out. Tired of pretending I wasn't hurt. The next morning, sunlight poured through Lena's tiny window. I was making coffee when she suddenly froze by the blinds. "Claire, there's a car outside your parents' house." My heart skipped. "What kind of car?" "Black. Expensive. Looks like a chauffeur car." I walked over. Even from across the street, I recognized it instantly. The old black Lincoln my grandfather Henry used to drive himself everywhere. He hadn't visited in years, not since he'd cut off my parents after they tried to manage his estate.
Lena's jaw dropped.
"Is that your grandpa?" Outside, the door opened. Grandpa Henry stepped out slowly, cane in hand, his sharp blue eyes fixed on the house. The air seemed to shift with him, like authority had just walked back into the neighborhood. He slammed the cane against the ground, once, twice. My dad appeared at the door in his robe, startled. "Henry," Dad stammered, "this is—" "Where's Claire?" Grandpa's voice thundered. Mom rushed out, trying to play polite. "Dad, what's going on?" "We didn't expect." He cut her off, his tone icy. "No, you didn't. Because you thought I wouldn't find out what you did." Ryan peeked out from behind them, smirking nervously. "Morning, Grandpa." "Quiet," Henry snapped. "I'm here for one reason. It's time to see who this house really belongs to." Lena covered her mouth. "Holy Claire, what is he talking about?" I stood frozen at the window, heart pounding, tears burning behind my eyes. Because I had no idea what was happening. But something deep inside me whispered. This time, I wasn't the one being thrown out. This time, someone else was about to lose everything. The sun hadn't fully risen when Grandpa Henry's voice shattered the calm of the neighborhood. David Bennett, come outside. From Lena's window, I watched in disbelief as my father stepped onto the porch, robe tied loosely, confusion written all over his face. My mother appeared behind him, clutching her coffee mug like a shield. Ryan stumbled out next, half-dressed, eyes still groggy from sleep. Grandpa's cane hit the driveway again.
Thud. Thud.
You've forgotten where this home came from, haven't you? His voice carried a weight that made even the neighbors peek out from their blinds. Dad forced a smile. Henry, you can't just show up and start yelling in the street. People are watching. Good, Grandpa said coldly. Let them. He handed his driver a leather briefcase, then looked straight at my mother. Marilyn, do you remember when you begged me for a loan 20 years ago? I gave it to you under one condition. The property stays in my name until your children are old enough to manage it responsibly. Mom's fake composure cracked. That was ages ago, Dad. You said. I said nothing that allowed you to evict my granddaughter, he snapped. Where is she? Ryan muttered. She left. She wanted to. Grandpa's eyes narrowed. Is that what you told yourselves to sleep better? He turned to the driver. Open it. The driver clicked open the briefcase, revealing thick folders stamped with legal seals. Grandpa pulled out a document and slapped it onto the hood of the car. This is the deed to the Bennett property, he declared, voice rising. And it's not under your names. Never was. The trust lists Claire Bennett as the sole beneficiary. The silence that followed was suffocating. Mom's mug slipped from her hands, coffee splattering across the steps. That's impossible, she whispered. Dad's face went pale. You can't do this. She's irresponsible. She doesn't know how to handle money. Enough. Grandpa's cane hit the ground so hard the sound echoed. You've used her kindness as an excuse for your greed long enough. I could barely breathe. My hand covered my mouth as tears welled in my eyes. Lena gripped my arm. Claire, that house, it's yours. Down below, Mom tried to regain control. Dad, please, this isn't the way. We were only trying to help Ryan start his life. Grandpa turned to Ryan, his voice colder than winter steel. And how many starts has he had? 3? 4? Each one funded by the sister you call a burden. Ryan's jaw clenched. You don't understand, Grandpa. I understand perfectly, Henry said. And I'm done watching you drain what isn't yours. He looked back at my father. You taught your daughter she didn't belong in her own home. Well, now she does. Legally, fully, and permanently. Dad's face hardened with disbelief. You're ruining this family. No, Grandpa said, his tone softening slightly. I'm saving what's left of it. He turned toward the black car and nodded to the driver. Fetch her. My heart stopped.
Lena looked at me.
Claire, he means you. I backed away from the window, trembling. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Come outside, sweetheart. It's time you come home. Grandpa. I didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Everything I'd lost last night was suddenly being handed back, but not as charity, as justice. I grabbed my jacket, tears streaming freely now. Lena smiled through hers. Go get what's yours. Outside, the morning light felt warmer than it ever had. The black car door opened, and Grandpa Henry extended his hand toward me with a proud, steady smile. Let's go show them, Claire, he said quietly, who this house really belongs to. And as I took his hand, I knew the reckoning had only just begun. The black car rolled down the familiar street, and my heart pounded so loud it drowned out the hum of the engine. Every window we passed reflected flashes of the house I'd once called home, each reflection reminding me of the night I left with nothing but a suitcase and my pride. Grandpa Henry sat beside me, calm but unreadable. You don't need to say a word, he said. Just walk in with your head high. They need to see what dignity looks like. As the car stopped, I took a deep breath. My fingers trembled, but my spine straightened. When the door opened, sunlight hit me full in the face, bright, sharp, and blinding, like a second chance. The front door was open. My parents and Ryan were standing there, frozen in disbelief. My mother's lips parted, but no sound came out. Dad's eyes flicked from me to Grandpa, as if hoping this was a nightmare he could wake up from. Grandpa stepped out first, his cane striking the driveway like punctuation. "Well," he said, voice ringing, "I believe introductions aren't necessary. You all remember your daughter." Ryan muttered, "Unbelievable." I met his eyes, calm and steady. "Good morning, Ryan. How's the room?" His face twisted, but he didn't answer. Grandpa motioned toward the door. "Claire, go on inside." I hesitated. My hands shook slightly as I crossed the threshold, the same doorway I'd once been told to leave through. Every memory flooded back. Birthday candles, Christmas mornings, tears, laughter, and betrayal. The air inside felt heavier than I remembered. My old photograph still hung on the wall, but someone had replaced my framed college diploma with a painting of Ryan and his fiancée. "Cozy, isn't it?" I said softly, letting the sarcasm slip through. Mom straightened her blouse, trying to reclaim her tone of control. "Claire, we never meant to hurt you. Things just got convenient for you," I interrupted. Dad raised his voice. "Watch your tone. This is still my house." Grandpa turned sharply. "No, David, it's not." The lawyer, a tall man in his 40s, stepped inside holding a folder. "Mr. Bennett," he said, addressing Grandpa respectfully, "all transfer documents are in order. The deed and estate titles are confirmed under Miss Claire Bennett's name." My parents' faces drained of color. Grandpa looked at me with pride. "It's official. This property, and everything tied to it, now belongs to you." Mom stumbled a step backward, whispering, "You can't do this after all we've done." I turned to her. "You mean after all I've done? Paying your bills, covering your mistakes, being your scapegoat." Her eyes filled with tears, but it was too late. Ryan tried to cut in. "Claire, you're not going to kick us out, are you?" I looked at him for a long moment. "You kicked me out first." The silence that followed was thick enough to choke on. Grandpa's cane tapped once. "Claire, the choice is yours. You can decide what happens next." For a second, the idea of revenge burned in me. I could throw them out, make them feel the sting I'd lived with for years. But as I looked around that house, all I saw was emptiness. No love, no warmth, just people clinging to walls that never meant what they thought they did. I took a deep breath. "You can stay," I said finally, "but not because you deserve it, because I'm not you." Dad's mouth opened, but no words came. Grandpa smiled faintly. "That's my girl." I turned to leave, the morning sun pouring through the door behind me. "Enjoy the house," I said quietly. "It's not the walls that make it a home, it's the people. Try being some." And as I stepped back into the sunlight, the wind brushed against my face like freedom. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the forgotten one. I felt like the one who finally walked away with everything that truly mattered. 2 days passed, and the entire town knew. News traveled faster than I ever imagined, how the perfect Bennett family had thrown out their daughter, only for her to return as the legal owner of their home. I never posted anything. I didn't need to. The truth had a way of spreading on its own. That morning, I met Grandpa Henry outside the courthouse cafe. The autumn air carried the scent of roasted coffee and burnt leaves. He sat by the window, reading a newspaper with a headline, "Local heiress takes back family estate." I smiled faintly as I slid into the seat across from him. I didn't expect it to make headlines. He looked up with a smirk. "When justice shows up wearing your face, people talk." I laughed softly, but there was still a heaviness in my chest. "I didn't want revenge, Grandpa. I just wanted peace." "And that's exactly why you got it," he said. "You didn't let anger decide for you." We sat in silence for a moment before I asked, "What happens to them now?" He took a sip of his coffee. "They'll have to live with the truth, And with you as the legal owner, they'll finally see what humility feels like. Later that afternoon, I drove back to the house, not to gloat, but to close a chapter. The driveway felt different now, like it recognized me. Ryan was outside, pacing on the porch, phone pressed to his ear. "No, we can't afford another delay. Just handle it," he barked before slamming his phone down. When he saw me, he froze. "Claire." His voice cracked, a mix of shame and desperation. "Listen, I know things got out of hand. Maybe we can talk." I shook my head gently. "There's nothing to talk about. I'm not here to humiliate you, Ryan. I'm here to move forward." He looked down, jaw tight. For once, he didn't have a comeback. Inside, Mom was cleaning the kitchen in silence while Dad sat on the couch, staring blankly at the floor. They looked smaller somehow, like the arrogance had drained out of them, leaving only regret. Mom finally spoke, her voice low. "We never thought it would go this far. We just wanted to help Ryan." "You wanted control," I said quietly. "You wanted to choose who mattered."
And it was never me.
Dad's eyes met mine. For the first time, they weren't filled with authority. They were heavy with guilt. "We were wrong, Claire. About everything." I stood there, the weight of years pressing down and then finally lifting. "I don't hate you," I said. "But I can't live here anymore. This house means nothing to me now." Mom's lip trembled. "So what will you do?" I smiled faintly.
Live.
"On my own terms." As I turned to leave, Grandpa Henry's car pulled up again. He stepped out, cane in hand, watching with pride as I locked the front door, this time from the outside, by choice. "Ready?" he asked. "More than ever," I replied. We drove away, while the afternoon light bathed the house in gold. In the rear-view mirror, it looked peaceful, almost like it had finally exhaled. Grandpa rested his hand over mine. "You know, Claire, sometimes losing everything is how you discover who you really are." I looked out the window at the endless stretch of open road. "And sometimes," I said softly, "it's how you remember you never needed any of it." He smiled. "That's my granddaughter." The wind rushed through the open window, carrying away every last echo of that house, every insult, every tear, every moment I'd felt small. Now, all that remained was silence. But it wasn't empty anymore. It was peace. Real, earned peace. And as the city lights appeared on the horizon, I knew this time. I wasn't leaving because I had to. I was leaving because I finally could.